Now, you've not seen a counsellor or a therapist or anything of that kind as a result of his behaviour, correct?
No, Judge.
However, am I right that you feel harassed, bearing in mind that you have been the victim of a very serious threat of violence?
Yes, Judge.
And am I also right that you think that the trespass to your property, especially your mail, is very significant indeed?
Yes, Judge.
And you would like to form a counterclaim based upon those two legal principles?
Yes, Judge.
No.
Now, just to be clear, your claim is not restricted to the £500 principal sum of the loan. You also have an additional amount as well you'd like me to consider, correct, sir?
Emotional distress.
Emotional distress?
Yes.
And how much is your emotional distress worth, sir?
£2.5 grand.
2,500? Be quiet. Please, sir, could you explain that to me?
The reason is that I've been considering worrying about this money not coming back to me. I've been rushed up to Basingstoke Hospital under a heart attack.
Because of the worry?
Yeah. And now I'm under a load of medication, pills.
I accept that this has caused you some distress. I accept it's caused you worry. You say the fact that this gentleman hasn't paid you back has caused you worry to the extent that you're entitled to sue him for £2,500 for the physical effects of him not paying back your debt.
I was fit enough before, no, I'm not now.
Understood. Trevor, Chris, there are two parts of this claim. Trevor, you are suing Chris for non-payment of a loan. In nearly all cases where you know an individual, they're a family member or a friend, a loan is not recoverable because you don't have an intention to create legal relations. In other words, the parties didn't intend that in the event the person didn't pay it back, you were going to end up in court. The way that you rebut that presumption is by putting it in writing. In this case, you didn't have anything in writing except a text message. However, I'm satisfied by the narrowest margin that that text message was contemporaneous. In other words, it was around the time the money was handed over. What's more, even if I was not satisfied about that, Chris, you lied in order to obtain this loan in the first place. In those circumstances, Trevor, I award you £500. As you've already understood, you are not entitled to charge interest, and that offer was made in stupid circumstances which are not enforceable. So I dismiss out of hand the £2,500 that you've applied for emotional distress. I believe that you've suffered some physical effects as a result of this gentleman not paying you back, but that's not recoverable. Chris, at the beginning of this case, I thought I would deal with your counterclaim in a very short period of time. It is very difficult to claim for emotional distress. You have to prove that you've suffered a real consequence as a result of somebody's behaviour. In the course of these proceedings and hearing Trevor's evidence, I am satisfied that you do not have a claim for emotional distress. You have a better one. You have a claim for harassment and for trespass. Trevor had no right whatsoever, first of all, to take your mail, and secondly, through an indirect party, make threats against you. That, sir, was a straightforward harassment. Worse still, it seems to me that it may have been unlawful. In those circumstances, I'm satisfied your better claim is for nuisance, not for emotional distress, and I'm able to give you an award connected to that nuisance. This court awards you £500.
Trevor won part of his claim and was awarded £500 by the court.
You drafted this agreement?
Peter drafted it.
I actually drafted it, Your Honour.
It sets out how much you owe, and what's more, the critical part of it is you even set out when you have to pay back and the terms.
Yeah.
£300 each month, right? The total being £900. You've set out when, you've set out that there's no interest. Sir, this is a perfect loan agreement, utterly legally enforceable. Splendid. And as a result, the two of you, not you, she got jazz hands. You get no jazz hands.
That's fine, Your Honour.
And the reason, sir, bearing in mind you've got something enforceable between this lady, why on earth wouldn't you simply just change the name when you gave it to these people?
It didn't actually occur to me at that time.
The situation is now, who's lost out?
It's actually Margaret.
Me.
Certainly right, Margaret. Now, Margaret, what's your current situation?
My current situation, I'm a pensioner. I've been diagnosed with angina and thrombosis, which stress doesn't help. And that was one of the reasons I got Pete to sign the agreement.
But Peter wasn't borrowing the money, madam. They were.
I didn't know them that well to lend it to him. I knew Peter better.
You trusted him.
Well, yes.
Now, he's tried to pay some back.
Yes,
How
he
much?
has. He's paid 290 back.
What's it done to you not to have had this money back, madam?
What's it done to me? It's not done my health any good. I panic at the least little thing for a bill coming through, having the money there if anything comes through that I'm not catered for. You know, it's money I worked 20 odd years for.
Where's her money? Where is her money?
In general, we've had the money we've had has been on rent and shopping and catching up on our own bills, but we haven't put.
Well, there's a little bit aside. I mean, not just shopping, you're also shopping for weddings. Dresses,
No,
hair and makeup.
In fairness, Judge, we haven't. We've only been looking at prices.
Why are you upset, Margaret?
I'm upset that people can look at weddings when they haven't got the money, whereas I look at things knowing I haven't got the money and can't afford it, and a lady of my age should be able to enjoy her life, and I can't.
Peter, you are suing Sarah, and you're also suing Martin.
Yes, George.
You, I have no doubt whatsoever, gave them £900 for rent in circumstances where they were in dire straits. You did so, I'm afraid to say, in circumstances where they didn't sign for anything. Because you didn't get that agreement in writing, I have absolutely no difficulty in dismissing your claim out of hand.
Can I just say, George?
You cannot. However, happily, I've had Margaret come to court today. I would not normally do this. It is entirely a matter for you. But let me assist you by asking you this question,
Yes,
madam.
George.
Would you like to bring an action against Peter, who has a legally enforceable agreement with you?
Yes.
Oh, what a good answer, madam. Sarah and Martin, I'd like you to move a tiny bit, if you may, to your left. If you could stand. Whether you want to stand with them or not, this is the only way it's getting resolved. I'd like you to go and stand at the defendant's bench. Madam, would you be able to go and stand over there? Margaret, would you like to initiate proceedings against Peter today,
Yes.
who borrowed money from you?
Yes.
Is this the agreement that you signed?
It is, yes.
How splendid. How much does he still owe you?
Well, he paid 290.
Well, therefore, he owes you, what, £610?
Yes.
Are you working?
I'm actually going to be starting a job this afternoon, George.
What wonderful news. I wish you the best of luck. In the circumstances, because you've got an enforceable written contract, I have absolutely no difficulty whatsoever awarding you your now new full claim of £610.
Thank you, Judge.
And that's the award of this court.
Thank you, Judge.
The judge awards Margaret £610. Peter's claim was dismissed as he became a defendant in the case.
What do you make of Stuart? What do you think of him?
Not a lot.
How would you describe him?
Pushover. Like a puppet on a string, I guess.
You withdrew your consent in June 2018.
Yes.
That's around the time, it's a couple of months before you were forced to move back home with Mum.
Yep.
When your bank account had been completely depleted. I assume, therefore, once you were living at home, that you wouldn't have heard anything further from Rachel, correct?
Correct.
Can't be true. 2 weeks ago, having looked at your bank account, I have seen a further transfer, sir. Do you know how much that was for?
About £800 over 2 weeks.
£800. Did you give permission for her to use that money?
No, she asked me if she could pay I could pay a phone bill for her. I said yes, but then money disappeared. She said it from the phone company.
Since the time that you said she could no longer go online and had no permission whatsoever, do you know the total sum that she has taken?
About 1,000, I expect.
£2,968. Pushover, you entitled to this money?
Don't know what to say to that, really.
Have a go.
Well, I just keep going back to the same thing. I mean, what would you do if somebody had given you your bank details and you take your money out and they send you a text saying, "Where's my money?" with a kiss on the end? Wouldn't you carry on?
Madam, you are a disgrace.
It's like a gift in a way.
Did you just come into my courtroom and suggest to me that abusing the trust of this gentleman was a gift? Did you just suggest to me that dishonesty is an appropriate way to behave? Did you just come into my court and tell me that that sort of misappropriation, theft or fraud is okay? Did you? Did you?
But he didn't stop.
Did you?
He didn't stop me.
Did you do that? Get out. Get her out. Out. Leave. In thousands of cases I have done, I have never met a more brazen, a more unpleasant, a more dishonest, a more foul defendant than I have seen in this court. And I am sorry to you, sir, because you've been abused. And you know what? You're not the only person affected by this. I'm sorry to say that she won't hear this. I've been given a statement by your daughter, Anne.
Marie.
You listen to this, sir, because this has to stop. My dad, Stuart, was with Rachel for 8 years. My dad is dyslexic and struggles with computers, so allowed Rachel to take control of his finances online. My dad thought that this was the case until he received a letter from the council which stated that he had unpaid council tax. It was then that we realised that Rachel had not been paying the bills at all and instead had been paying herself. They split up soon afterwards, around 2 years ago, after she left him for someone else, and my dad moved in back with my gran. To this day, Rachel still has access to my dad's account and still transfers herself money. She must owe him thousands now. My family really dislike Rachel and feel sorry for my dad. We think he still loves her, and he's a softie and can't say no. Sir, do you still love her?
As a friend, yes.
It's got to stop. It's over. Do you understand?
Yep.
Also, when you leave here, I'm going to ask you to get in touch with your daughter to change all of the passwords on your computer. Do you assure me you will do that?
I will.
Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.